Hi to my patrons and the people who waited a year. Do I ever explain this adequately? This is going to be on Patreon for $5 or more patrons. And then it will go fully public in 1 year. And this is the raw video. I feel like some people watch these and they think this is like what the regular show is, but none of the post-production stuff happens in these. This is just raw video to prove to you that I improvised the whole thing in one go. So, if that's something you need to enjoy an improvised podcast, here you go, you have it, and you get to see this beautiful mug. This is the extreme close-up episode. You may notice I'm not currently in extreme close-up, but I will be soon, because as you know, gimmicks don't start until housekeeping is out of the way. So without further ado, let me think of an opening line, and then we will get this train a-chuggin'. Mr. DeMille? That's a joke for, nobody. I mean, if you're cool, but, if you're not, Anyway, this is where the theme song goes. I'm quiet for this part so I can see where to put it in. You're not going to hear it here, because this is the raw. You're listening to Fix My Carcast, hosted by Bear Claw Billy, and this is episode 128. Comedian and musician Keith Hebert is so close he could jump up and bite you. But first, housekeeping. This is the show where you pick what I say and how I say it. Pick a topic or prompt by donating to the GoFundMe, and vote on the gimmick by joining my Patreon for just $1 a month. Join at the $5 or higher level, and also get bonus episodes and behind-the-scenes footage. Links are in the description. Also down there, merch. Get yourself some merch. Do you want to feel closer to Fix My Carcast than ever before? Why not get a shirt with the Fix My Carcast logo on it, and then it can cling to your lithe, sinewy frame. And I don't think you can get much closer than having Fix My Carcast literally inside you. We'll talk about how to do that later. No new donors this week. The total raised for paying off my car repair debt is holding at $2,290. Also, when we get to $3,000, it unlocks an automatic show gimmick, which is I will record an episode at sea. Fun fact, did you know that this whole podcast disappears when we hit $10,000? It's going far, far away. Hey, do you like the theme song? No? Well, if you make a donation of $50 or more, in addition to picking an episode topic, you get to change one thing about the theme song forever. Until somebody changes it back. Want me to turn it up way too high so the whole thing spikes in the red? I'll do it. $50. It was hard to stay on the theme of closeness this week, okay? That's a little peek behind the curtain. Also, if you would like to own the painting I made in episode 118... I'll be giving it away to the next person who donates $100 or more. That's right. Own a piece of Fix My Carcast history while you still can. No new patrons this week. Bummer. Now it's time for a topic suggestion. I'll suggest topics I think I could easily talk about for a whole episode, though admittedly, I think the show is more fun when it's something I'm completely clueless about. So, something I could talk about is how much Spotify sucks. Seriously, Spotify sucks. They don't pay their musicians, and now they won't let you debut new music on a podcast. Yeah, that's what happened to Sick Beats 4. If you're a Spotify listener, that's why you can't hear it. Seriously. Spotify sucks. Want to know more? Donate today. Checking in on the best city in the world based on which city listened to the last episode the most. And our big winner is, don't know if you've heard of him, Boston, Massachusetts. Congratulations, Boston, Massachusetts. Let it be known that your Lake Wild, Department of Understanding, and Golden Thigh of Pythagoras Elementary School are the best in the world for 7 days. Last episode, I talked about whether or not there are 2 Docs and 2 Martys in the 1985A universe as seen in Back to the Future Part 2, while doing it like a Manosphere podcast. You can see video of all the raw footage, plus a little extra, over on Patreon. Also, head over to Patreon for a bonus episode where I talk even more about Back to the Future Part 2. particularly the sexism. Okay, let's talk next week's gimmick poll. These are your choices for next week's episode gimmick. They are: bleep every adjective in post, put ice cubes in my pants, do it like an ASMR video, and our returning gimmick: incorporate 25 Star Trek episode titles. Let's recap. Number 1, bleep every adjective in post. Number 2, put ice cubes in my pants, or whatever I'm wearing that day. It'll go in the underwear if you're afraid I'm going to try to technicality that one. Number 3, do it like an ASMR video. Just going to be a lot of whispering, and maybe it'll turn you on. And our returning gimmick, number 4, incorporate 25 Star Trek episode titles. And in case anyone is curious, I'm counting from fully across the franchise, not just TOS. Unless, I don't know, you want to pay some extra money and I'll do just TOS. Whatever. They're just any Star Trek show episode titles. They're on the table. Fair game. Remember that any gimmick that gets just a single vote is eligible for a second chance in 6 weeks. Be sure to vote over on Patreon. The poll closes Thursday, June 20th at noon Eastern America time. All right. Time for today's gimmick, which is record it in extreme close-up. Of course, gimmicks don't start until housekeeping is out of the way in case any of them prevent me from sharing vital information. But now, we are entering the Gimmick Zone. Oh, I guess I could just move the camera. Yeah, let me do that. Okay, I am in extreme close-up now, which probably doesn't really mean anything if you're still listening to the audio version. If you're still listening to the audio version, it's still just my regular voice, though maybe I sound a little more distressed trying to keep my head in frame. Anyway, from this point on... Oh shit, I can't read my script because there's a camera in front of my eyes. This was a bad idea. From this point on, gimmicks are active and everything is improvised. Today's topic comes to us from Adri for $13.33, and I've been asked to talk about Season 1, Episode 13 of the TV series Baywatch, entitled Home Court. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, keeping my eyes this close to the camera is probably not going to be conducive to reading the notes that I took on Season 1, Episode 13, Home Court. So I'm going to move to framing my mouth. Hello, wait, let's... For anyone who's a fan of the nose, let's get some nose in there for all you nose heads out there. Yeah, looking good. Yeah, you think I finally got everything from Sick Beats out of there? All right, I'm moving to the mouth now. Here we go. That's my big sexy mouth. Don't think about all the things you want to do to it. Boy, if you're just listening to the audio, this is probably more insane. Anyway, so, the gimmick is just having my face this close to the camera, so, I guess I'm just talking about, a Baywatch episode. Now, for context, there is a bonus episode, of Fix My Carcast, where I talk about a bonkers episode of Baywatch, and, sorry, my brain can't function right now because I'm trying to pull up exactly what episode that is. But the episode is the Hang Glider movie, I believe it's called. I want to make sure I have this correct information for you, so I'm scrolling through bonus episodes. Good God, where did I talk about the Hang Glider episode? Oh no, it was after I got drunk. I remember that. I drunkenly told you about my idea for a Hang Glider movie. Nope. Wasn't mystery movies. It wasn't... Oh my fucking God. I can't... It was when... Here we go. Episode 123. Hang Glider Cinema. Okay, I will admit, as much as I was like, this gimmick doesn't really change much, it really is hard to try to remember what you're looking for, find it, and keep your mouth in frame the whole time. By the way, I just have to do this real quick. Science fiction double feature. Okay, I'm done. All right. So season 1, episode 13, Home Court. Now, I have seen some random Baywatch episodes here and there. I'm watching them with a friend, having an absolute blast. Because here's the thing about old television, folks. It was rarely good, but at least they tried. And I will watch Baywatch over any reality show any day of the week. Because, god damn it, as much as the show gets made fun of for being like, oh, just an excuse to see some attractive people running on a beach, they do genuinely try to commit to telling an interesting story about watching a bay, and it is surprising how, like, wholesome it is and how much it stays on theme. Like, they genuinely do not try to come up with stories that are just excuses to show off hotties on the beach, though there is definitely some of that. They really do every week try to find a compelling narrative around, okay, if you were a lifeguard, what's an exciting thing that could happen to you this week? Now, I had not seen this episode before, at least I don't think I had. Again, I've only just seen like random ones poking around, on a Thursday night. So, sorry, I thought my mic came off. It's also funny to me, do I even need a mic when my face is this close to the phone? Anyway, you know what? I'm gonna give you eyes for a little bit more, just because, you want to look into the window of my soul. How's it going? I realize I'm probably horribly out of focus, but now I get to pretend like I'm in the good, the bad, and the ugly. So, Season 1, Episode 13, Home Court, which I have to stress is spelled C-O-R-T because there's a character named Court. Now, I made an interesting discovery halfway through watching this episode, and I'm going to pretend like I don't know it yet, because I think it's going to be exciting for you to discover it along with me. I'm going back to mouth. I really need to be able to read for this. First of all, I watched this on Tubi. You can watch it for free on Tubi. Tubi lists this as episode 14. However, on IMDb, it is listed as episode 13. I think it's because the pilot was actually a TV movie, and that kind of messes up the numbering. Not to spoil ahead that I'm probably going to get sponsored to review a few more Baywatch episodes, but if I do, I will always go by the episode title, not what the season numbering is, just in case it's off. I really need to shave. Haven't been able to because I haven't had my car this week. Yeah, my poor titular car of Fix My Carcast is in the shop. I got rear-ended, y'all. So I am without vehicle for a couple of weeks. So let's hope none of the gimmicks where I need a vehicle will come back around. Hoo-wee. So, Home Court. Now, I often say on this show that the amount of effort I put into the research depends on how much money I get. For $13.33, I watched the episode once, took copious notes, and looked on IMDb and the Baywatch Wiki for any interesting stories. And we'll get to those after just the review of the episode. But I'm just going to hit my notes one at a time because I don't think any of this would have stayed in my head if I hadn't written it down. It wasn't a memorable episode. It had some memorable aspects, but not in a way that I'm like, what a good episode. Can't wait to watch this one again. Can't wait to tell people about it. So right off the bat, theme song a banger, as always. I love the Baywatch theme song. It is incredible. It's got some real fucking voices. It's got that like, oh, woman, like, I'm always here. Like, it's just really cocaine-y. I noted here, this episode opens in a Roadhouse-style bar, and Roadhouse is the Baywatch of movies. And I say that because both Baywatch and Roadhouse are about a profession that you get the sense that the writers didn't actually speak to someone who does that profession. There are many mysteries of both being a bouncer, a cooler, how dare I disrespect Dalton, being a bouncer / cooler, or being a lifeguard / Baywatcher, a Baywatchist. In both Baywatch and Roadhouse, what the fuck are these guys' jobs actually? Also, how do they pay? There's no way of knowing. Some of the lifeguards have 2 jobs, and some of them live in really fancy houses. I genuinely do not know how much lifeguarding pays, and Baywatch will never tell you. So anyway, opens in a divey bar. There is a lifeguard named Court, and I wrote this down, getting threatened by a guy who looks like Bill Clinton cosplaying as Grizzly Adams. A bar fight ensues. Court gets away. I noted that I briefly recognized part of the GTA map because all my knowledge of California comes from GTA. I'll go someday. That's where they filmed Back to the Future. I have to go. They also filmed upwards of dozens of other films there, but the only one that matters is Back to the Future, don't you know? All right, so there's one scene in the episode that so David Hasselhoff is Mitch. He's the head Baywatchist, Mitch Buchanan. And there's a scene after the bar fight where Court uses his dirt bike tire. He's driving next to Mitch's truck. He uses his dirt bike tire to splash water into Mitch's truck. It goes through the open window, and I couldn't help but notice this. Clearly the water was squirted from inside the truck. You can tell someone had a squirty bottle, and they just went right into David Hasselhoff's face. It looks so fake and so bad. I cannot wait to tell you about this. This is exactly how I wrote this. So aside from Court getting into a bar fight, and also some ominous underwater shots of crates that we don't know what they are, but we assume them to be dangerous. Then there's a guy selling sandwiches on the beach with rotten meat in them, and I wrote, this cannot be the B story. My friends, that is the B story. It turns out B stands for bread. This is the bread story. Yeah, they're gonna keep cutting back to selling sandwiches on the beach. I almost don't want to get into that too much right now because it's gonna come up a few more times. But yeah, this is an actual B plot on a Baywatch episode. A guy is selling sandwiches with rotten meat in them, so two of the lifeguards decide they can make a killing selling sandwiches on the beach. And oh my god, why is this the plot of a Baywatch episode? So Court, it seems, the character of Court, I did not write down the actor that plays him, but I think it's in my notes somewhere. When I say I didn't write it down, I mean it's probably in the IMDb trivia that I copied and pasted. I'm not going to check, though. What the hell, I'll check. Court. Nope, doesn't say the actor, so fuck it. All right, so I wrote down, why is there a story about a cast member returning when we're only 13 or 14 episodes into a show? Even Dr. Pulaski wasn't until season 2. Folks... nope, I'm not going to reveal it yet, but I discovered something halfway through this episode. Let me move on with my notes. I said this feels like a GTA mission. Court and his brother gotta go retrieve some ominous crates from the ocean. Okay, here's where I got to the major wait a minute, what the fuck moment of watching this episode, which is, I said, according to Mitch Buchanapedia, Court is a new character? This is his first episode? So they introduced a character mid-season by claiming he left and came back. Now, I think another actor had left the show, but still, this is a really weird choice to just have a character show up halfway through a season and then have all the characters reminisce about the good times they had with him. Like, it just seems like it would be way easier to be like, hey, we hired a new lifeguard to replace the old guy. But no, instead it's this guy who everyone loves is here now. And I think it's genuinely to make the audience like him. Like, look, all the characters like him, so you like him too, audience member. You don't think much. You're watching Baywatch. You're gonna love this. I have an all caps note here. The sandwich subplot is really happening still. Yeah, I don't know what it was about the sandwich subplot, but they did a great job of making me forget about the sandwich subplot and then cutting back to it. It really started to get to me because it's not interesting at all. Like, I think I wrote that it feels like they put two movies together. Yeah, you know what? I'll wait till I get to that part of my notes. I'm sorry that this one is mostly just reading you notes, but hey, it's not every day somebody pays me enough to actually take notes, so it's nice to have notes. Sorry, I'm looking at the footage of my own mouth, and I feel like Wayne Selinsky from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids discovering his son in his Cheerios, so just give me 1 second here. Hang on, kids! Okay, sorry. I'm just hitting all the pop culture. Remember a big mouth? Here's the Rolling Stones logo. Okay, we're having fun, folks. I wrote, Court is the Glenn Powell of the cast, and I will not elaborate. And I agree, future Billy, I will not elaborate. I wrote, some dude on the beach is fighting with his girlfriend, and according to the captions, she shouts, "No, you're giving me gas." There is no context I can think of where this line makes sense, and that includes taking into account the fact that there is a subplot about rotten sandwich meat. The character selling the sandwiches is not in this scene. So I don't understand. Like, this is just a random guy having a domestic squabble. So I don't know why she says, "You're giving me gas." As frequently happens in Baywatch, there is a music montage, and in this one, it's an entire music montage of Court looking hot. I tried to Shazam the song twice, and both times Shazam said no. No song here. This song doesn't exist. I like 80s cheese, so I genuinely really wanted to find it so that I could, crank it during sex. But alas, according to Shazam, not a real song. I'm sure it's not on Spotify because Spotify sucks. So the rotten meat sandwich salesman, Buddy T. Semple, whose full name is repeated many times. I remember Buddy T. Semple's name more than most of the main cast's names. Anyway, Buddy T. Semple is getting his customers scooped by lifeguards also selling sandwiches, and now he is fighting with the lifeguards. And I just wrote, this is a real episode of Baywatch, and indeed it is. And then I wrote here, so I missed what's actually in the ominous underwater crates, so I popped back onto Mitch Buchanapedia, and all caps, this information was not relevant enough to include in the episode summary, but the sandwich thing was. No joke. No joke. In the plot summary for this episode on the Wikipedia specifically for Baywatch fans, they do not mention what's in the crates. I think the wording was just like a dangerous mission, but then under that they wrote, Buddy T. Semple is selling sandwiches that have rotten meat in them. And so they devise a scheme to get in on his business. Gosh, I have so many more notes. I might have to pick up the pace on this one. It's also hard to see how long I'm running because the camera's right up next to my face, and so the numbers are blurry. But I can't just, back out of close-up here. Wow, I cannot see a thing. All right, 15 minutes. Great. What did I write here? Oh, I said this sandwich thing feels like a school kid scheme from a Little Rascals short, not something two adult women would think of while lifeguarding. That's the thing. Like, it's two female lifeguards, and they talk about it like they're running a lemonade stand. It's just kind of very infantilizing. And then I wrote here, the ominous crates have a detonation device attached. So the guy that hired him was trying to kill Court. I think that's what's going on. Mitch Buchanan, David Hasselhoff, asks Court, who he has for enemies. And at one point, Court says, 6 husbands. Do we like Court? Are we supposed to like Court? Like, there's a lot of scenes in the episode that just show him as, like, a ladies' man. But, like, that line is him blatantly saying, oh, yeah, I fuck people's wives. Like, straight up, I'm a wife fucker, and it ain't polyamorous, and they hate me for it. You know what? You know what? Based on what he said, 6 husbands, maybe, just maybe, they were all polyamorous, open marriages, but, he was maybe just bad at communicating. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Anyway, there's a bomb in the cupboard! Yes, there is a scene with a bomb in a cupboard, and I wrote this down. I rewound 3 times to be sure of this. Court discovered it with 4 seconds left on the timer. It was not activated by opening the door of the cupboard. It just happened to be ticking away this whole time, and he just happened to find it with exactly 4 seconds left on it, at which point he dives out of the way, and Mitch is very upset that a bomb just went off in his house. All right, so anyway, the guy that's mad at Court and trying to kill him, he says to meet him somewhere, and Court agrees. Why? Maybe I don't understand the world of crime, but I just would not show up, maybe? I don't know. Just kind of weird. And then I wrote this down. I get actively pissed every time they cut back to the Sandwich Movie. I curse the name Buddy T. Semple. And boy, do I do not understand. The guy playing Buddy T. Semple, I meant to write down the actor's name, because he's like a great character actor. Whenever I see him in something, I'm like, oh, hell yeah, that guy. Could not tell you his name. Google Buddy T. Semple, because literally only one thing will come up, and that is Baywatch Season 1, Episode 13, Home Court. But yeah, he's, oh gosh, he's one of the guys on the team in Dante's Peak. He's the guy who's obsessed with coffee. It's the best I can give you. I've seen him in some other things, but yeah, he's great. I love him in everything I see him in. And then my last note on the actual episode was at least the episode ends with some splash wrestling and something blows up. Yeah, Court has a little slap fight with the guy trying to kill him in the water. And then the crates blow up because we got to have something exciting happen in this episode that is, I cannot stress this enough, 50% about sandwiches. Whoever wrote this episode, what is this boy sandwich crazy? To quote the first Fast and Furious movie, which I've seen all of those. There's an episode about it. Go check it out. 24 Fast, 24 Furious. Anywho, 1333, Adri, that gets you a perusing of the IMDb trivia. There are 4 bits of trivia here. None of them very interesting. But I'll read them out for you, the wonderful listeners, and see if I have anything interesting to say about them. I don't. Although his name remained in the opening credits through the end of the season, this is the last appearance of the lifeguard in training, Trevor Cole, played by Australian actor Peter Phelps. Mystery surrounds why the actor left the show, but he wasn't short of work for long. Interesting. So, no one knows why he left, but he did find other work after this. Good for him, unless he's a scumbag, in which case, bad. Don't be a scumbag. Don't be bad. The first appearance of the character John D. Court, excuse me. The D is for Dick and Your Wife. Peter Phelps played a surfer in the 1991 film Point Break. I don't want to criticize the format you do your IMDb trivia in, but that would be more interesting if you formatted the sentence to also tell me if he played a surfer in this. I was about to say he also played a surfer in, but it doesn't say also. So Peter Phelps, who was someone in this episode, Trevor Cole, who left the show, he played a surfer in Point Break. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Peter Phelps wrote that in the IMDb trivia because he's trying to get more roles. But I don't know. I hope he's living a great life, unless he's a scumbag, in which case, do better, be best. Holly Gonyier and Billy Warlock, Gina and Eddie, previously appeared on the daytime soap opera Days of Our Lives together. She played Ivy Selejko, and he was Frankie Brady. So all you Days of Our Lives heads out there, which actually I used to watch Days of Our Lives with my dad a lot. We would mute it and we would fill in the characters' voices. Does anyone who listens to this show find that surprising at all? That, I was a big mute the TV and make them say stupid stuff kid. Can you believe that the person with the podcast where they do a bunch of dumb voices and stick their tongue in a fan, except nobody voted for that. You could have had my tongue in a fan. Anyway, you could have been the fan. No, we're not going there. Continuity goofs! There are 2. There are exactly 2. For 1333, Adri, I will also check the goof section of IMDb. And here's all we got. 2 continuity errors. When Jill and Shawnee, they do have names, discuss starting the sandwich business. Both of the continuity goofs are about sandwiches. When Jill and Shawnee discuss starting the sandwich business, Jill is alternately leaning on the railing or standing up straight. Gotta watch your continuity. Also, after Shawnee takes the sandwich from Trevor, Jill takes it and wraps it up. In the next shot, it is sitting about a foot away from Jill. Shame on the producers of Baywatch. How dare you sully an otherwise perfect episode? Anyway, out of all the Baywatch episodes that I've seen, this one is pretty low on the list, I would have to say. I enjoyed the episode Shark Derby more than this one, because it's about a shark derby, and you can't go wrong with a shark derby. Even if you don't know what a shark derby is, I still don't, and I watched the episode. Anyway, Shark Derby's a better episode. There's one where a kid gets trapped in a well or some shit. I haven't seen that many episodes of Baywatch, but again, teaser ahead, I will be reviewing more. I know that for an absolute fact. I'm not going to tell you how many I'm reviewing, but it's a few more. So stick around for that. As always, keep watching the bay.